Hi friends! Today I'm going to read to you a book called Edward Gets Messy. It was written by Rita Mead and illustrated by Olga Stern. This is Edward. Edward is a very particular pig. Particular means he likes things to be just a certain way. He detests dirt. He fears filth. He likes things to be just so. Edward never gets messy. Each morning before school, Edward irons his perfectly clean clothes. He tidies his perfectly tidy room until there's not a speck of dust in sight. And he vacuums his perfectly sparkling goldfish tank with a special underwater vacuum. Edward is very happy with being very clean, but it's hard work to stay that way. Edward never pets friendly dogs on the street, and he never ever eats foods that spill or splatter. And he never, ever uses markers or glue sticks or paint. They are just too messy. It sure isn't easy being a particular pig. On the way to school one morning, Edward's friends jump in a big pile of dirty leaves. Crunch! But Edward doesn't get messy. He walks on the sidewalk. In Edward's science class, the baking soda volcano erupts into a spraying flow. Boom! But Edward doesn't get messy. He sits at the back, out of the room. At lunchtime, everyone else at Edward's table eats spaghetti and meatballs. Slurp! But Edward doesn't get messy. He eats a plate of steamed broccoli. On the muddy field outside, Edward's classmates play a game of baseball. Squish in the dirty mud. But Edward doesn't get messy. He stays in the stands. There's Edward with his very neat lunch. And there he is watching the game. Edward has stayed clean for most of the day. Now there's just one class left. The art teacher gives out paper and paint. Gloop. Once again, Edward doesn't get messy. He straightens up the supply shelf, but something goes wrong. Plop. Oh dear. Do you see something on Edward's shirt? Splat! Oh dear, says Edward. To his surprise and his horror, and through no fault of his own, Edward gets messy. Edward is distraught. Edward is devastated. That means very, very upset. Edward doesn't know what to do. But wait. Look what he's doing. Oh, look at his face. He doesn't look so upset anymore, does he? What's he doing here? The next day at school, Edward helps the science teacher with her experiment. What does his face look like? Looks like he's having a good time. Out on the muddy field, Edward gets a hit and slides into second base. He's playing in the muddy baseball field. He's sliding into base. And on the way home from school, he jumps into that big pile of leaves. Edward is no longer afraid to pet friendly dogs on the street or eat food that spills and splatters. And he happily uses markers and glue sticks and especially paint, because now Edward knows that it's okay even for particular pigs to get a little bit messy. After all, they can always clean up afterwards. I hope you like that book about Edward. I'll see you soon. Bye.